Hello, everybody. Welcome back, Jackson and Rafael, on the 25th podcast. And we talked about for people that have more than 40 years old and how to train after that side. Jackson gave you the journey before and after, and I get my journey now. How am I training to get to that stage, and I can keep training just like Jackson is doing right now, and just like many people are doing, like 50, 60, like Ellie Gracie did to 95. He was training, giving a hard time to the people that they were training with. So
by far, it was the most important podcast that we did, talking about the performance after 40 years old, what you can do to improve your jiu-jitsu after 40, or start jiu-jitsu after 40. If you're a small person, 55 years old, and you think that jiu-jitsu is not for you, you are wrong. You should try it, okay? Make sure you choose the right place. Try several different gyms, and you're gonna find the right spot for you. Believe me, doesn't matter the age, jiu-jitsu is there waiting for you, and there is a safe way to practice until you die.
Yeah, listen to it. See you guys.
See you later. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, man. Welcome
We're
back.
here
Welcome
for
back.
one more podcast.
Yeah, man.
I'm good, man. You?
Pretty good, pretty chill.
Good class this morning.
Pretty chill. By the way, just for you guys to know, if you see something move, there's a cat nearby, so be careful, man. Be careful. If you see the camera move, one of them. There's three?
One of the adoptive cats, yes.
There's three now, right?
Three.
Dang. So we're gonna talk about today something that one of the guys comment on Facebook, that a video about how to train after you're 40, right? And Jack's gonna give a little perspective on before and after his whole journey, and I'm gonna give a little bit of what I'm doing now so I can achieve that journey and then continue training after 40 years old. How can I go there? Because there's some people that don't even reach that age because they're all broken, shoulders, neck, lower back, and everything. So I'm gonna share a little bit of those tips. So anything that you did before, how was your journey before getting into the 40s?
Yes, I'm right on the borderline. I'm 43 now. I'm gonna turn 44 next year, and I can't compare the mindset I used to train now with the mindset I used to have 8 years ago. And of course, when you're young, you think that's power gonna last forever. You never think about after 40s. If you're 30, you never think about after 40s to prepare yourself for the after 40s. You never think about it because you only think about a preparation or learning some skills that would get you ready for when you get old, when you get an injury. You know, if you get injured, you're gonna start to think like, oh man, what am I gonna do now? What's the reality now? And there is no doubt that after 40, 45 years old, your performance gonna slow down and your speed gonna slow down and you're gonna feel more sore after training. And I definitely feel that now. I can't tell yet that I feel like a big change, you know, but I start to notice that my body takes a little longer to heal. Like not from injuries, because I haven't got injured in a long time now, and like just minor sprains here and there, but like I haven't got serious injuries in the last six, 7 years. So I haven't stopped to train during 7 years now. And that's exactly when my mindset started to change. When I was like 37, I had a bad injury. My last injury was my lower back injury, a herniation disc that totally stopped me for a year. And that's when I started to research and look for a better way to train, because I was in a point with 37 years old that I had to decide if I'm gonna do something about it, my injury, to keep training, or if I'm gonna quit and just leave jiu-jitsu on the side.
And before you go there, I was gonna ask you, you said that you had 7 years, like no injuries and anything. What is the average in the gym that you were before, and for the guys that is looking at it, for the people that are looking at this? Jackson trained in a competition focused gym, so it's totally different type of mindset when you train, right? It's more harder because you have to compete every weekend almost. what is the average injury length of training that people when they're training in a gym like that, what is the average injury that gets into that place? So imagine 7 years period of time, right? What is the average jiu-jitsu practitioner competing? How many times do they get injured in that 7 years?
Oh, it's a lot.
That's why I asked that, because it's interesting.
It's a lot. It's like most of the gyms, there is the injury reality inside the gym that's part of the culture. And you see people talking about that all the time, like being injury is part of jiu-jitsu. You know, the other day, I saw a post on the UK website. There's a UK website, somebody saying like, hey, I'm a white belt and I just started jiu-jitsu a couple of weeks ago. What should I expect? And then I look at the comments, like, oh, expect that you're going to be always broken, expect that you're going to see the doctor every week, expect that you're going to have a knee surgery.
Interesting.
And I post something like totally the opposite of it. You know, I post like, hey, expect that you're going to meet a lot of nice people and expect that you're going to learn the best martial art ever invented, you know, and because I found out a way to train without that intensity. And the most important part is like one thing that I do all the time now, I remind my students all the time before the sparring starts. You know, I sit with them, hey guys, let's go, let's get ready, get your gear. Okay, everybody ready? Hey, remember that the most important thing is your partner's safety. Okay, never put your ego before that. You know, never put the submission attempts before your partner's safety. You know, and I remember I never did that before with my students. My coaches never done that to me. It's actually the opposite. You know, it's actually like, hey, the priority is the victory. You know, the priority, it's you submit your partner. That's the priority. Doesn't matter what cost, you got to submit somebody and don't get submitted. You know, and that's just the recipe for disaster.
Whole different mindset.
It's just the recipe for disaster, because in the end of the day, if you train jiu-jitsu to compete, you train in jiu-jitsu to fight somebody that you don't know, and you're going to see that person for the 5 minutes of the fight, and that's it. You know, you don't care. Like you go there, you injure that person, you shake hands and say sorry, and that's it. You're not going to see that partner in the gym anymore. You're not going to see your reputation in the gym not going to change, you know, because you know that guy, you know everybody that trains jiu-jitsu, you know that guy that potentially injure other people often. You know that guy is a dangerous trainer and he don't care and he goes hard. And there is no doubt injury is going to happen. Even with the mindset that I have now, that I really, really try to protect the students and I really try to enforce the mindset of the safety first, it still happen. You know, one guy's been the wrist here, the other guy have a little injury there. It's going to happen. But I haven't seen any knee reconstruction. I haven't seen any big major surgery happen here and there, like very, very sporadically. You know, like for example, right now we have a student that he had a shoulder surgery yesterday for the second time because his shoulder don't heal at all. But that was like an old injury that he had when he used to be a judo athlete.
Yeah, the overuse of the shoulder.
Yes, he overused, and then of course training jiu-jitsu now for several months, and he's a very, very regular student, you know, and then he got his shoulder messed up, and he had to do a surgery, didn't work. Now he had to do another one, and it's a guy that can't stop either, you know. Like he did the surgery, and like 1 week after he was on his gi in the mats, and I say, "What are you doing here?" He said, "No, now I'm gonna train just with my arm trapped here." And he did train like for nearly a year. He trained like every single class. He trained with his arm wrapped. He found a way already to tie the belt and hold the hand here, you know, in a specific way that he can't remove the hand out. And he trained, but this is a very single case, you know, it's a very unique case of somebody that's super active, that had several injuries before, and now his shoulder is bothering him for a long time. You know, but most of the time the guy like take a month break, take a couple of weeks break, he can still study the curriculum from his house, you know, come watch the class. And
that's the thing that he did that changed his thing to, he just watched the class. So in that way, so before before you were in that mindset, like competing and everything, trying to win, trying to submit. Now what is your mindset that changed, that now it's rarely that you get injured because it's...
Well, mindset first is ego on the side. Get your ego, shoot him by the head, get out of your life, and accept that now your students are getting better than you. Okay, that's something that I would never accept, because when you compete when you train in a competition environment, my duty to have respect in the gym as a black belt, as a professor, is I have to tap everybody out. You know, I used to line up the whole gym and train with everybody and tap everybody out. And that's how you earn respect, you know, and also you have to compete, you have to be active in competitions, your students, you need to lead the group as an example, and being an example in a competition environment, you have to compete, you have to go hard, you have to train hard with your students, show them that you can handle that environment, that intensity, you know, and
that you can keep up.
The risks are too high.
Yeah.
You know, so what I do right now, I put that ego on the side. I don't mind if I have to tap out for a student. I don't mind at all. I don't mind at all. And that's gonna happen, doesn't matter what. Doesn't matter what. At one point, there is two choices. There is two ways you can go. There is the route that you can go and you don't tap for a student because you're very good and you very exceed the standards and you beat everybody up, or you have no respect because you don't do that, and then your students see you in different categories, right? Oh man, my professor. Or you can just avoid training. You know, you avoid training, like that guy, that the brown belt in the line there, you know that he's gonna put a lot of heat on you. So what do you say all the time? You say like, I don't want to train today. You keep avoiding that guy all the time because you know he's a threat. You know, and I used to do that all the time. You know, I had students, he got brown belts and black belts and was a threat. And then what I was doing, like, oh no, I'm not going to train today. I'm dying to train. I'm dying to train in a more even way, you know, like training a little bit more with somebody that can reach my level there, but I end up not doing it because there is the risk that I'm going to have to tap. And then there is that other case, like you train with that guy, and then when he's there, I think that, hey, let me show you something here. Let me show you, like, and then you stop the guy,
stop the growth,
because you don't accept the reason that he's got you there. You know, so this was the main thing for me, like not just to be the teacher, but to be the student for your students. You know, your students have a lot to teach you. They have a lot to teach. You know, they go to seminars, they watch a lot of material online. You know, like how many things, since I opened my mind, how many things I learned from my students. You know, now what I do, I actually let them get close. I let like the student get my back and go, and I want to see where he go until the end. I want to see him go, I defend as much as I can, and I go and he finish something that I never see. I say, hey, how did you do that? Oh no, professor, this I see a guy, I went to a seminar the other day in Dallas, and I saw the guys teaching this, and I thought that was very cool, and I apply on you and it works. I said, good, share with me, share with us, and everything flows better. The medical bills disappear from my life. I have not been...
They're big though. They're big medical bills, man.
And so my biggest advice for you that reaching the borderline of 40 years old, you know, doesn't matter like how physical prepared you are. You can be like a very strong person. You do a lot of workouts. Your cardio is excellent. You know, your physique is very good. But if you don't prepare your mindset, if you don't prepare your brain to lose and see that as a victory, not as a loss, it doesn't matter. You know, and of course, some people gonna reach that borderline when they're 35. Some people gonna reach that borderline when they're 50. You know, it's a different, everybody have a different body, have a different, but we use the 40 years old as a measurement, right? Like when you reach the 40, you know, that's when you really start to feel the changes on your performance, and the change should be walking parallel with your mindset, you know. Otherwise it's no doubt you're gonna get injured, then you're gonna think like, oh man, I can't do Jiu Jitsu anymore because I have this injury here, and then you're gonna give up and you're gonna stop your journey much earlier than you should, because you don't accept, you know, and that's happen everywhere.
What do you think is someone that is going, because that will be an advice context on someone that is a little bit more experienced and that is coming through brown belt, black belt, or purple belt even, and training with people that are a little bit younger and even higher, or maybe
when they start in the journey as a white belt, you mean?
Yeah. So imagine that the person started after they're 40 or just.
Right,
40 years
a white
old,
belt, 45 years old,
that
just started
Jiu Jitsu and everything. What would you recommend for him to do, or for her to do?
Yes, it's depends. It's hard to say, you know, because depends the coaching that this guy gonna have. You know, imagine a 45 years old. Depends on the gym that he walked through. He doesn't matter how he prepare. Doesn't matter what I tell him. You know, the environment and the examples he's gonna have inside that environment gonna lead the way. You know, like for example, if a guy walk in my gym with 45 years old, a white belt, I have 100% sure that he's gonna last there and he's gonna train without many issues. You know, but now imagine the same guy, 45 years old, still athletic, go to a competition environment. They want that guy to compete. They want him to get ready to compete and represent the team. So the intensity on the training, he's gonna start to spar much earlier. He's going to start to experience a lot of pressure much earlier.
So basically recommending like making sure that they find the right school for them.
Yes.
Yeah. So that way they either in seeing the goal that they want to do, either they want to compete or self-defense. And if they pick self-defense, that they will last much longer because the training is different. If they go to competition, of course the intensity is different.
And I'm not saying that's would be bad, you know. Some guys at 45 years old, they're gonna learn jiu-jitsu, they're gonna perform well.
It's whatever they're looking for.
Some people just need that, you know. I have a student that's been my student for a long time since I arrived in Houston. He be my private student, and he's 55 years old, and he always desired to go and compete. And when I was involved in competitions, I could never bring him because it was too early for him. He's still a white belt. And then I move away, and he lives far now, and I still see him on Sundays. I train to him on Sunday morning. Most of Sundays we train together, and he train in another gym now that's a competition oriented, and they go to tournaments all the time. So he finally made for his first competition a month ago. He called me and asked me, "Hey, Professor, I think I'm finally ready. I think things gonna work out for me to go to this competition. What do you think?" I say, "Yeah, I think you should go. You want to have that experience for a long time. I think you should go." You know, and then at the age of 55, he registered for a competition, but there is nobody in his division. So they changed him and he put him in a division much younger and a little heavier, one division above his weight, because that was the only division that he would have somebody to compete with. So right there, it's already not on his benefit anymore, right? He went to his first competition, he fighting 10 years younger and one division heavier guys, right? So it's already a lot of disadvantage for him. So he prepared for months to go to this tournament and training with private class with his professor there and learning the rules. And he's a very dedicated guy, you know, he's a doctor, he's very dedicated guy in jiu-jitsu. You know, he really commits with the learning and preparation. And then he finally went to the tournament, and then when he got there, his belt was too short. He had to go buy another belt. He told me already that was...
The belts matter?
Yeah, the belt, his
length?
Yeah, the length of the belt was wrong, and he had to buy another belt on the spot. And then when he went to weight, his weight was also... had some problem with the scale there. He was confused with the weight. They didn't know about his weight. So that like confused him a lot, got him very confused. And then before he go to the fight, he was there waiting next to the mat. The coach called him and gave him a new instruction that he never saw before. You know, the coach told him like, "Hey, when you go there, don't pull guard. Fight the guy stand up." You know. And
they practice pull guard.
Yeah, in the gym he was not doing too much stand up training. So like right then before the fight, the coach told him like, "Hey, hold the fight standing as much as you can. Don't go to the ground easy." And he like, "Oh my God, we never talked about that before." So he had three things that already like was missing his concentration there. You know, the belt, the weight, and the coach that gave him a new instruction. And then he went to fight and he fought the guy for 5 minutes. The guy pulled guard, locked him in the guard for 5 minutes. And the guy had one armbar attempt and got an advantage and win the fight. And that was his first experience. And then he called me after and he said like, wow, Professor, I can't believe I waited all these years to go and compete. And I felt so unable to do anything. I could do anything. I could not do anything. I lost the fight. I was so mad. I was pissed because I lost. I thought that I won. And then I see like all this confusion, you know, all this confusion around this person that's a very, very dedicated jiu-jitsu practitioner. But, you know, it's hard. It's just hard. It's just hard to go there. And that was one of the things that was very, very much frustrating me in competitions. You know, the referee, you know, the referee in jiu-jitsu is a lot of interpretation, a lot of personal view. The way you see the technique being done is different. The way I see it, the way you see it, the way the other people see it, you know. So it's difficult. Imagine
it's another variable that affects the whole thing.
Yes, it's much harder for somebody that's after 40s to go and compete than somebody younger, you know. So my advice is the mindset. You know, you have to accept, even if you go to a tournament, you know, you have to accept the loss like a champion. A lot of people do it. I really appreciate it. I've seen a lot of people like lose with a smile on the face, and most of the times actually, of the times is like that. You know, like when you see the fight finish, they go, they shake hand each other, but on the walkout, when you go out, that's the problem right there.
Yeah, what you say to yourself.
Yes, like how you take that loss, you know, and that loss could be like a broken arm, you know, could be like many things that could happen with you. You know, so
whatever they're looking
my advice is, if you are after 40s, if you're already on that borderline of 40 years old above, and you start in jiu-jitsu, you start to work on your mindset. Start to work on the journey of jiu-jitsu, not as a performance that you have to show to anybody, you know, unless you have to show to yourself, unless you have to prove something to yourself, you know, like nothing else than that, you know, like you don't have to show your coach how good you are, you know, you don't have to survive a submission until like you choose between you get injured or you tap. That most of the times injuries happen when you're defending and you don't want to give up on the arm and the guys go, and then it's that battle like gonna break the string, and most likely gonna break the string on your side, and you're gonna be the one that's gonna get injured. You know, so it's very, very delicate point, you know, like, and in the system that we use right now, I see that 40 years old is a super young age to start, you know, because I see people coming from other gyms that's already had done jiu-jitsu before, and they quit because of injuries, because of they thought they're not capable enough to do it. And now they join us and they're super happy, and you see like they're growing and they're doing it. Omar was there this morning. Omar was like super scared in the beginning. He's over 40 and he thought that he could not do it. And been like nearly a year, and I asked him today, hey Omar, how jiu-jitsu going? He said, man, I love it. And I know that he'd been training jiu-jitsu for 1 year and he'd never got injured. Never broke a nail. You know, and he's enjoying the path. And now he's gonna go to the advanced program, and then he's gonna start to experience a little bit more pressure, a little bit more, but now he's super ready. You know, so the program that we start in jiu-jitsu also dictates a lot of that. You know, it really, really gives you the idea of how intense the training is gonna be. You know, if you start in a gym that the fundamentals program is super friendly, there's no sparring, and you're gonna get prepared for that, you know, like for the long journey of for you to train jiu-jitsu for the rest of your life. Or you can go in a gym that's the fundamentals class is already like heel hooks and knee bars and sparring every class, and go, you can do it, go. You know, the chances of getting injury is way higher, way bigger, you know. So I think it's the mindset and the program that you're gonna face first is gonna dictate your lifelong in jiu-jitsu, you know, how long you're gonna be able to do that.
Yeah. No, and
you know,
and the things for example, right now I'm 25, turning 26 in December, and I want to be able to train as much as I can to reach in an age that I can still train and keep the pace, and not meaning submitting anybody, but just making them work like Elio Gracie did when he was 95, making every single person that trying to train with him, he makes everybody work, right? So that's the whole point. And for me, it's as well as Jackson was saying, the mindset and the program that you enter with, the environment that you surround yourself with is really important, because their values, beliefs, and their habits is gonna be contagious, and you're gonna do the same thing. So you have to be aware of that. And then personally for me, when I train, I don't have the mindset of sparring. I don't use the word sparring or rolling. I use the word play. I just play. So I just become a kid, like try to see who catch who, and if I get them out, how much can I get the other person tired. So I don't focus on the submission. I get the other person tired. So if he's breathing harder than me, that means that I did my job. So Jiu-Jitsu, from my understanding, is to exhaust the other person more than you are. So meanwhile you chill and controlling and surviving and everything, the other person should be expending their energy. Meanwhile they're trying to either control you or trying to survive under your control. So that those two keywords of playing and exhaustion towards the other person instead of submitting is what changed my whole game, is what brings me every day to the mat. I can train every day and not be worried about injuries and anything like that. If I get caught, is the learning process of how can I prevent that instead of escaping in the moment that I get caught. So learning how to, like, okay, he got that, okay, I need to for example, he got the Americano on me from the side mount, okay, I'm getting my arm a little bit too free there, so I need to make sure that I tucked it in or hide it a little bit more, or when he's about to get, I do something else. Like making sure that you prevent things instead of escaping from the submission. That's when the majority of the injuries happen, that I have seen, that people don't want to get submitted and trying to escape mid submission. You're gonna get hurt because the explosion of both of you guys trying to go is what makes things happen. So
we should name this podcast, are you training jiu-jitsu, are you sparring jiu-jitsu, or are you playing jiu-jitsu? You know, there's 3 different levels of
it's a
how
whole
you can
different view. It's a whole different view. So
if you are playing jiu-jitsu, I like that.
Yeah, no, and that's what the philosophy, what Hiron says, and they have like a patch and everything that give to everybody, like keep it playful and all that stuff, and I like that part, because that's the way, you know. And watching some videos here and there about for example Ido Portal, about movement and all that stuff, that's famous Conor McGregor ponytail coach. He says the same thing about movement, like moving and everything. You should play when you move and everything. You should play soccer, you should play tennis, play ping pong, play jiu-jitsu, play everything. Just keep it as a game instead of like something too serious that you're trying to do. And that's how you enjoy things a little bit more and keep yourself hard. Now, in the physical side of what I'm doing now, so my body's not aching and everything, is making sure that I do those movements and stretch and practice movement, like a little bit of hanging, or do kettlebells and do this and do eating well, all that stuff that becomes a part of it. In jiu-jitsu side is those 4 things. So the 2 things that Jackson said about the mindset coming in, the goal that you're looking for, understanding that the program that you're getting into, of course, the part of, you don't want to escape during the submission. You want to understand how to prevent it, and how you sparring. It's not sparring, it's not rolling, it's playing with your partners and everything like that, like trying to get each other. And the 5th one, that before I forget, is instead of focusing on the submission, like I said, or trying to escape from it and prevent it, now you looking for the submission. Don't look for it. Just try to make sure that you're exhausting the other person. Meanwhile, you're looking for it. They're gonna give it to you when they're super exhausted. They're gonna give it to you much easier. You're gonna get them in a way that they're not gonna get injured, and you not gonna get injured either, because they're already exhausted. So they're not gonna make anything forced for that part. It's gonna be easier for you to get it, and everybody wins. He learns, okay, like, how do you do that? He's gonna be much calmer, much humble in that sense, that you use so much technique that is like,
and then you can play 30
insane.
minutes rounds, 30 minutes rounds.
30 minutes and everything.
And talking about this, like we talk about this all the time, talking about make the gentle arts real gentle, and put safety first in front of everything, especially when you are over 40s. May sound like, especially if you have jiu-jitsu experience, may sound like, oh man, these guys, they must train like so slow that is not even jiu-jitsu. You know, but I'm telling you guys, our advanced class where the people train and they're sparring more and they play jiu-jitsu more, you know, is after an hour training, is like you see everybody on the floor like exhausted, like
dying.
You know, like it can be as exhausting as a competition training kind of class. You know, doesn't mean like because you're more flow on the training that's make the jiu-jitsu easier. Like, no, now if there is no risk of injury, it's not real jiu-jitsu. You know, there's nothing to do with that. No. You know, jiu-jitsu can be very intense and safe at the same time.
Playful and fun and everything.
You know, when you understand this next level of put safety first, then your performance, then the submission. You know, when both sides of the game understand it, like you and your partner, you both understand that first, you know, the training can be very, very intense. You know, and sometimes you just turn off the clock, the timer, and you train like 1 hour with the same partner. 1 hour, like you choose your partner and you go and you train for that whole hour with your partner, and it's really fun and it's very safe.
Yeah, no, and the last thing before we go, so there's one thing that most of us that practice jiu-jitsu, of course, that see or watch the UFC somehow, if you don't know the big name of GSP and everything like that, or Tony Ferguson and all those guys are famous for not sparring anymore. And if you think that Tony Ferguson is not a real fighter because he doesn't spar anymore, go fight him, you will see that he's a real fighter. So, or GSP, for example, so they stop sparring to get less injured so they can go to the fights much better. And those two guys I've heard that don't do it much. I don't know, I may be wrong, but what I've heard from the last time that they were changing some trainings and everything, they did that and they got better in the sense of health-wise. So drilling is more important than the rolling or the sparring part. That's the last thing that we heard from Henry Henner Gracie recommending in that side of, like, guys who think with a bunch of instructors and everything and students and talking to everybody, he's like, hey, which one is more important, the sparring part or the drilling part? And everybody was mixed, and the drilling is more important because you get into that repetition so much, you understanding the perfect timing of it. That's when on the real time, on the playing side, on the game part, now you can understand when is the moment to catch it. And that's a huge deal. So make sure that you respect the drilling as much as you respect the rolling and the sparring part. It's real. It's not something that you come in and because we flow more, we keep everything a little bit much safer. We're not trying to crank the arm or use less strength. It means that the training is just super weak.
The training is still tough. It's too hard. You go home, you get sore next day. You wake up sore. You get messed up in training. You lose. You win. But safety is always first. Safety is always first, you know, and the students start to recognize how much the coach give value for that. You know, my students, they're kind of scared now of like hurt somebody for no reason. You know, they're really concerned about that because I keep enforcing on them all the time. I keep telling them all the time, hey, never put your performance in front of your partner's safety. And if that's not happening in your gym, there's something wrong in the environment that you are training. If you train in a gym where most of your training partners are hurt and you see that happening often, people get injured and the goal is the submission all the time, you are training the wrong environment, okay? If you want to stay there in that environment, stay, but like be careful, be very careful because...
Be aware of it.
Can lead you to several months without training jiu-jitsu. It's not just without training jiu-jitsu. Without training jiu-jitsu is okay, But like imagine
your daily life, no?
Yeah, like imagine like you go to work every day with that knee that you can barely walk, you know, your neck's so stiff all the time, you know, and that's happened. And according to the intensity you train, the chances are bigger and bigger and bigger. And if you don't change your mindset, it's increased more, the chance, more and more and more. If you are that guy that you train jiu-jitsu and you are close to get a submission, you look where your coach is to see if he's watching you. Oh man, this coach watch me now. I'm gonna get this guy in arm bars. He watch me. You gotta be watching me because I'm gonna get him, and that's gonna count for my next promotion.
Yeah,
that's wrong. Okay, don't worry about where your coaching is looking. If you're losing or winning, your coach should not care about it. Okay, if your coach should care about your safety, and he should care about how long your journey gonna last in the mats, because in the end of the day he needs you in the mats for two reasons. He needs you in the mats to keep his gym alive, and he needs you in the mats because it's fun to have a lot of students in the mat. You want to open your gym and have like 30-40 guys in the mats every day, and if you keep that mindset, your gym gonna keep rotating new students all the time, and you're never gonna get
like a solid
solid
team,
group.
No?
Yes.
Yeah. No, amazing, man. Amazing.
So yes, it's very good. I love to talk. This is probably the subject that suits me the most because I passed the 40s, and I never enjoyed jiu-jitsu as much as I do now. I train every day, and I love to go there because I know it's safe. And always there is a little hurt here and there, but you know, things that's
part of the game.
Part of the game. If you go for a run outside, your leg's gonna hurt next day too. You know, you're gonna get a little injury everywhere.
It's just
and
movement.
If you don't do anything and you stay in the couch,
you will hurt too.
Injured anywhere.
You will hurt too.
You know, it doesn't matter. But of course, after 40s, things increase, and you should be more careful about that. And if you ever wanna experience what we talk about here, you're always welcome to come to our gym and try a class. You know, even if you're an advanced student. If you're a purple belt and you want to come and try, I want to go there and try a fundamentals class with these guys to see what it look like. You know, you're very welcome to come and try. You're going to be treated like anybody else. And can come to advanced class. And I may pull your ear if I see you going too hard on my students. I may pull your ear like I did it recently. I did it to a student that joined us. And he's super tough, very tough guy. And he wanna show me that he don't tap to everybody, that he don't tap to nobody, and I pulled him on the side the other day. I started the training. I say, hey, come with me, and then I stand up for a spar with him. I talked with him. You know, I talked with him during the 7 minutes, 10 minutes of the training. I say, hey, let's watch the guys. Let me know what you think because I train you too, and I see like you go very hard. You're very scared to tap, and what's the problem? No, I don't like to tap. I say nobody likes to tap. But nobody likes to get injured either. And if you have to choose one, you want to tap and go home walking, have your food when you get home, and you don't have to be calling a chiropractor or a doctor next day to fix something in your body.
Too expensive.
You know, so I think this is the most important podcast that we have ever done because this is the thing that's going to keep you in the mats or not. And
longer.
Jiu-Jitsu is an amazing martial art. It's so good. The more I train, the more I learn about it, the more I love it, and affects my whole life, my family, my mood, everything. What I do is Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah. You know, and I wish that everybody could see it. I wish that everybody could see the benefits. You know, it's growing more and more Jiu-Jitsu growing. People start to see the values. And how much mentally strong you get, and physically, you know. And I hope that people understand this more and don't interrupt students' journey for lack of information and wrongly performance expectations. You know,
or their own insecurities of trying to show up for other people, or trying to survive or something like that, and never tap. It happens. It happens. So thank you guys so much. So this is one of the questions from Facebook. So if you have any Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, email us. We always give the email out so that way you can send us the question or any feedback that you want to see, anything in particular, any technique, and then from there we're good to go, man.
Yeah.
So thank you guys. Obrigado.
Keep training, stay safe. And if you're 40, your journey maybe is just about to begin. Don't be scared of it. There is a way to train. 50, 60,
70.
You know, small 55. If you're that little guy, 140 pounds, 55 years old,
come in.
You're ready for Jiu Jitsu.
See you guys. Obrigado.
See you later.